Okay, that was very high. So let's bring it down a little bit. This might be a little bit of trial and error today. I thought I had it on. The first day I shot with these strings, I thought I got it dialed in. Okay, that was closer. That one was in the red. That first arrow was up on the top of the paper. Second arrow is just on the top in the red. I don't have the GoPro set up down there yet. Okay, so we're gonna go back up to that 62 yards. May not take the scoring too seriously today, because I've got a few things. I just got new strings on, and we extended out my draw length by 1 inch. And I think it's a little long. It just does not feel as steady. It feels like it's hard to get my shoulder sucked down into the socket while pulling and pushing on pressure. But I'm gonna give it a little bit more time before I make that change back. Maybe bring it back 1/2 inch. And I also tried going higher with my peep height, and I think I need to bring that down to about 1/2 inch. At 60 yards, it just seems like it's too high, and it's kind of uncomfortable. At 20 yards, it seems perfect, so I may put it back to this location come indoor season. But yeah, so a couple things, and I don't have my sight tape dialed in, so I feel like there's going to be a little bit of trial and error on adjusting that until I got it right at 60 yards. Dude, these new System X strings are screaming. I've got it cranked down to 61 pounds, and at my draw length, which now is at 28.5, I think it was 286. Both high. And I had it at 62 on the side tape. So I'm gonna bring it back down to 60 on the nose. Man, that's weird, because when I was shooting a few days ago, I had to have it at like 64 yards on the sight tape to hit at 60. Well, take 2 yards away, then we'll send it right in there. Walked it in there, brought it down and got a 10. Wasn't going off. Been pretty good at having that self-control of not just letting it go off and hoping, but letting down and resetting. Used to be terrible at that. Wind is coming up. I think those both ended up right on top of each other. Man, I don't think the wind is coming from that way, but God, that could be drifting it that far. I think definitely part of it is me. I think it's breaking a little bit, just floating and breaking off. I don't feel that steady today, but some of it might be the wind. Man, that was a grouping right there. They all got sucked right over to the left side there. 4, 5, 6. That's gonna nuke the score right there. I wonder if I should hold a little bit over to the right when the wind is picking up. So you guys might be wondering what I'm doing with this silly little blocker right here. Little cue card. Found out during Winter League, one of the guys at the club helped me kind of figure out, because I've always had these issues with my eyes getting tired and getting really blurry, and almost to the point where towards the end of shooting I like couldn't even focus on the target, and I would just hope it's on, and I would just keep pulling through, and it would be like I could only see over to the right. It was like it was in my peripheral vision. So after because I'd never done the eye test when I started shooting, and every time I do that eye test where you hold up your eyes, I'm left eye dominant. So I started blocking with this as I'm shooting. I leave my left eye open, and it has been a game changer. It's been awesome. It's really like I don't get fatigue in my eyes when I'm shooting. I don't get blurriness of my left eye when it's open. And it's honestly, yeah, is huge. Made a big difference. I did try ordering a brand of a eye blocker, but it doesn't work as good as just having this cue card on here. So I'm gonna have to try messing around with it a little bit more. All right, those last two didn't seem terrible. So part of my whole left eye dominance journey, I've got the same friend that helped me figure out I'm left eye dominant, and he had an old target bow that I borrowed from him, and I just got it set up with a rest and the right draw length, so I'm practicing to shoot left-handed in the garage. It is freaking tough. It is hard. Got one arrow into the wall because I don't have a sight on it yet, so I shot above the target. But yeah, it'll be interesting to shoot left-handed. I think there's some benefits to doing both sides, shooting right-handed and shooting left-handed. But we'll see. We'll see how I like it. So far, it's been tough. That one was really sucking low. Couldn't keep it on the target. Big fat 0 on that one. I should have definitely let down. I was thinking it at the time too. I was like, let down, let down, let down. Nope. Just gonna pull it off and hope. And hoping did not work. But yeah, so I think it'd be interesting to shoot left-handed as well as right-handed. Have like keep this bow right-handed, and if I switched fully over to left-handed, keep my body and my mind like balanced. There's something that's like, if your mind is so overdeveloped on doing something with your right hand, I think there's been studies or hypotheses or whatever on how it will actually limit your ability to get better with that one side, because the left side or the opposite side is lagging so far behind. Kind of the same as like muscular development. If you're not working your left side, your right side's actually not going to keep building, because it wants to protect itself from getting too out of whack, too balanced, too unbalanced. So, of course, that's why lifting is really important. And lifting is probably enough, but I'm sure there's a lot of extra benefit of doing the actual reps of shooting a bow left-handed than just lifting, because it's not the same. But I don't know, just some ideas. Definitely not shooting too hot today. I got tons of excuses, obviously, but it is what it is. Is what it is. I think I am, just with how I'm feeling, I think I am going to bring this back down 1/2 inch for my draw length. And then I think this peep height is definitely, just feels like I'm floating, like I'm not really anchored very good. But, all right, let's get to it. Let's try to get a couple more ends in here. Wind is slightly picking up at the moment. Seems like my shots are going a little bit long today as well. Floating all over. Another thing I want to start paying attention to and working on is consistent steadiness. It's like some days I'm just floating all over the place, like pretty bad, and then some days I feel just rock solid. And I want to try to narrow that into sleep, diet, thinking about different supplements, which obviously I've already talked about. Yeah, just try to dial those things in. I think being overworked mentally, physically, has a big impact as well. But again, I think the diet is a big thing. What I eat the night before could affect steadiness the next day. It's something I'm going to think about more and really try to dial in consistency. You can't be perfect. You can't control everything, but you could try. All right, so I'm going to call it at that today. It's just a little bit of shooting. Not the best Not the best day of shooting, but I got a lot of things trying to dial in right now. So I got a few adjustments and then come back and actually score myself against my past scores from last fall. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next.